Tonight, floodwaters consume Rockhampton as the peak edges closer. The floods crippling Queensland's farming and mining industries. To the west, St George prepares for a record inundation. And more rain on the way for the state's saturated flood zones.
This is 7 News with Patrick Condren and Talitha Cummins.
Good evening. After steadily claiming properties for a week, Rockhampton's flooded Fitzroy River will finally peak tomorrow. 4,000 properties are expected to be affected. Talitha Cummins is there and joins us live. Talitha, how much higher will these waters go?
Well, Pat, the Fitzroy has surged past the 9.2 metre mark here today. Come tomorrow, it'll hit 9.4, and that's the same as 1954, the second highest marker on the flood level here behind me. It's only gone higher in 1918. And while the locals here are nervous, they also know they couldn't be any better prepared.
Rockhampton, the disaster that's becoming even worse. The Fitzroy River's inundating more streets, more homes, and making more people move out. The worst hit areas are now mostly deserted. SES volunteers are ferrying the stranded through the floods.
It really just helps people get back to their families, and that's what you need in a time like this.
Emergency services are planning for the city to stay underwater for at least 10 days, but
it is a relief that it appears now much more likely that the peak will be 9.4 and unlikely to be any higher.
It means the Bruce Highway North will stay open, giving this city a vital link to fresh supplies while the airport's underwater.
This flood's been predicted so accurately that Rockhampton residents have had time to prepare. Already they're keeping areas that should be inundated dry.
At the North Rockhampton Bowls Club, pumps put in by volunteers are holding back the might of the flooded Fitzroy.
We'll get there. We beat it in 91, we're going to beat it this year.
So you're beating nature for the moment?
That's right, that's all, yeah. That's big nature there.
If the river wins, the club will be forced to close. Craig Arnold's business is in the same boat.
Fish, chips, fresh salad rolls, burgers, come down and get them.
He and his mates have been working 18 hours a day for a week. Their barricade pumps, drains and brooms are keeping the water at bay.
Last time it come through here was about $50,000 and we just can't afford it again, so we're just doing everything we can to keep the water out. Yeah.
A battle being won by mateship, hard work and humour.
We've had a lot of people going rowing past and singing out Another Day in Paradise.
It's covered in stinking mud and infested with deadly snakes. In Rockhampton, Michael Best, 7 News.
Still, there are fewer than 100 people taking refuge in the evacuation centres here. Authorities had expected more than 1,000. They admit they don't know how many residents have chosen to stay with their homes. Glenda Conway is one of them. She stockpiled food ahead of the flood.
No, we just stocked ourselves up and we're right. Freezer's full, the fridge is full. Yeah, no worry.
Are you feeling any nerves at all ahead of tomorrow's forecast peak?
No, not really, no.
What makes you want to stay here so much? You want to protect your property?
Yes, I've lived here 48 years or something, so yeah. And it's really no danger as far as I'm concerned. If it was going to go in the house, I'd say yes, I'll go. But not if it's not going to go in the house. And I very much doubt that it would. So.
What sort of other things does the water bring here? I think you mentioned snakes before.
No, snakes, rubbish, lots of rubbish comes in from everybody else in the paddocks and everything, you know. But lots of horse poo floating around. But no, really, it's not. It's afterwards. It's the clean-up afterwards that's the problem. You know, like it's a big job to clean up. But we'll have plenty of helpers.
The damage extends far beyond inundated homes. Queensland's economy is taking a massive hit, with coal mines already losing $1 billion. And the powerful water has stripped all the soil from what used to be fertile farmland, pushing up prices here and overseas.
At Yeppoon, growers are racing against rot. This should be Central Queensland's peak picking season, providing 90% of Australia's pineapples.
This is our pineapple summer crop. Unfortunately, due to the road closures down around the Bundy area, fruit like this, which you would have harvested last week, is not going to make it to market.
Ben Clifton has 150 tonnes to harvest. The only way to get the fruit out is by barge. More than half his crop will go to waste.
Well, hopefully it'll have a positive effect on prices to offset the impact of the lost tonnes that we're going to have.
Millions of dollars of pines, lychees and mangoes are being shipped south. The first fresh cargo arrived at Gladstone this afternoon. Tomatoes, bananas, cane, cotton and grain are the hardest hit.
This will wipe out some producers.
There are food and fodder drops to isolated properties. It could be weeks before stock can be moved for slaughter. Beef prices have already risen and will go higher.
Not just a Queensland shortage, this will impact on world markets as well.
Floods have already cost the coal industry $1 billion. Miners can't get to work. Coal pits, which aren't full of water, are running out of fuel and oil. And there's no way to transport the black gold to the ports. Hundreds of kilometres of rail lines have been washed away. 18 ships are anchored off Gladstone, 12 more are on their way. Australia supplies 2/3 of the world's coking coal. Even coal that's ready to go can't. Here at the Gladstone port, the stockpiles are too wet and too heavy to be loaded.
They rely on us as a reliable supplier, particularly of coking coal for steel making.
The coal industry will recover. After the 2008 flood, the price of coking coal doubled. In Rockhampton, Erin Edwards, 7 News.